Stop scrolling, because today's AI story is not another shiny model demo. It is the moment the AI boom ran straight into politics, energy, safety, and public trust. The Wall Street Journal framed the market's AI excitement as running into political reality. The Financial Times is asking whether Anthropic's own risk messaging helped create the conditions for the Fable and Mythos export ban. OpenAI is trying to show a different kind of maturity through deployment simulation, health evaluations, and enterprise spend controls. And the Strait of Hormuz remains a reminder that AI infrastructure depends on power, fuel, shipping, and geopolitical stability. So this is today's UGTP AI Intelligence Desk. The big read is simple: AI is no longer just a software story. It is a political economy story. It is a public trust story. It is an energy story. It is a safety evidence story. And the labs that win the next phase will not only have strong models. They will have to prove those models can survive regulation, infrastructure constraints, enterprise budgets, and skeptical users. Subscribe if you want the AI story with the receipts, not just the hype.
Powered by artificial intelligence.
The Wall Street Journal's June 20th analysis is the right opening frame. Investors can love AI, markets can cheer AI, and executives can describe massive productivity gains, but political gravity is now pulling the whole sector down to earth. Frontier AI companies are no longer treated like normal software startups. They are treated like infrastructure firms, national security actors, energy consumers, labor market disruptors, and policy targets. That changes the game. If an AI company wants to go public, it is not only selling growth. It is selling political durability. Can it survive public distrust? Can it answer questions about jobs, safety, data centers, and power use? Can it avoid becoming a symbol in an election cycle? Can it convince local communities that new infrastructure is worth the cost? The public trust data from Anthropic's public record matters here too. People can believe AI has huge upside while still distrusting AI companies to govern themselves. The market sees future cash flow. Politics asks who pays the bill if something goes wrong. It's the risk that models can tell they are being tested, and extend beyond standard chat into agentic rollouts with tool use. That matters because frontier AI launches now need more than a blog post and a benchmark table. They need a safety case that policymakers, customers, and the public can understand. OpenAI's broader plan talks about broad benefit, safety, shared prosperity, and coordinated action when needed. But those ideas only become credible when attached to mechanisms. Deployment simulation is one mechanism. HealthBench is another. Enterprise controls are another. The pattern is that safety is becoming part of product strategy, not just a paragraph near the end of an announcement. The health story is where the safety evidence question gets very real. OpenAI says more than 230 million people use ChatGPT each week for health and wellness questions. That is not a niche feature. That is a massive consumer health surface. When people ask about symptoms, lab results, medication questions, appointments, and what to ask a doctor, a chatbot can influence real decisions. OpenAI's health update points to GPT 5.5 instant improvements, HealthBench, physician-written rubrics, urgent care recognition, context gathering, and production monitoring. The critical point is that a health AI product cannot win only by being fluent. It has to know when to ask more, when to say uncertainty clearly, when to escalate, and when not to overreach. This is why today's political reality story is connected to health. If AI companies want to operate in high-stakes domains, they need a stronger proof standard than normal consumer software. The enterprise story is less dramatic, but it may be where the money is. OpenAI announced new usage analytics and updated spend controls for enterprises. That tells you where AI adoption is going. The first phase was access, give employees AI tools and see what happens. The next phase is governance, who is using AI, which teams are spending the most, what workflows are valuable, and where limits should be placed. GitHub's Copilot code review controls point in the same direction. Organizations want to know where AI runs, what it can see, which runners are used, and which content is excluded. Enterprise buyers do not want magic. They want manageable systems. They want dashboards, logs, budgets, permissions, review paths, and policy. The companies that make AI legible to security, finance, and compliance teams will have an advantage. In enterprise software, trust often looks like a boring admin panel. That boring panel is becoming a competitive moat. The Strait of Hormuz might sound far away from AI, but it belongs in today's desk. The Guardian reported that normal shipping will not resume until mines blocking the route are cleared. The Wall Street Journal reported that the reopening shifts attention to Gulf oil storage and shipping. In other words, traffic may be returning, but the system is still fragile. AI runs on data centers, and data centers run on power. Power markets are linked to fuel markets. Fuel markets are linked to shipping choke points. Even when a company signs long-term electricity contracts or builds renewable capacity, the broader grid, construction timeline, backup power, and equipment logistics are still exposed to energy risk. A disruption in Hormuz does not instantly change one chatbot answer, but it can change the cost and confidence behind the next data center build-out. AI is software sitting on top of a very physical stack. Political reality also shows up locally. Data centers need land, power, water, transmission, backup systems, and community approval. When AI demand grows quickly, those needs become visible. Local communities start asking why their grid, land, or water should support remote compute. National politicians start asking whether the infrastructure build-out benefits workers, consumers, or only a few giant companies. This is why the Wall Street Journal's political reality framing matters. AI is leaving the invisible software era. The build-out has physical footprints, substations, power lines, cooling systems, chips, fuel, warehouses, and construction crews. That footprint creates backlash if the public does not see the benefit. The next stage of AI infrastructure will require more than capital expenditure. It will require legitimacy. Companies will need to explain jobs, reliability, environmental impact, and why their data centers deserve scarce infrastructure resources. There is also a pricing story running underneath all of this. Enterprise spend controls matter because AI usage is not a fixed-cost miracle. Agentic workflows can call models repeatedly. Coding tools can generate more diffs, more tests, more reviews, and more CI runs. Every loop has a cost. That makes cheaper model options and model routing strategically important. Even without making today's video about any single open model, the lesson is clear: customers will not want one expensive model for every task. They will want routing. Cheap model for routine work. Stronger model for complex reasoning. Specialized model for code review or health evaluation. Human review when the risk is high. The AI platform that balances cost, quality, latency, and governance will be more durable than a platform that only sells raw intelligence. In 2026, the question is not just, which model is smartest? It is, which system can run the most useful work at the right cost and risk level? The trust gap ties the whole day together. Anthropic's public record showed that people can be hopeful about AI while still worried about regulation, liability, jobs, and whether AI companies can govern themselves. That tension appears everywhere today. Health AI needs trust because people may use it in vulnerable moments. Frontier model access needs trust because governments are asking whether some capabilities are too sensitive to distribute normally. Data centers need trust because communities are being asked to host the physical AI build-out. Enterprise tools need trust because companies are putting AI near data, code, and decisions. Governance is becoming product-market fit. If an AI company cannot explain what its model can access, how it is evaluated, how users are protected, how costs are controlled, and who is accountable, it will struggle in serious markets. Trust is not a press release. It is a system design requirement. Here is the watch list. First, Anthropic. If Fable and Mythos get a clearer access path, every frontier lab will study the template. If the situation remains vague, global customers will price in regulatory surprise. Second, OpenAI. Deployment simulation, health bench, enterprise controls, and broad benefit framing are all part of a safety evidence playbook. Watch whether other labs copy that structure or attack it as positioning. Third, energy. If Hormuz stabilizes and energy markets calm down, AI infrastructure gets some breathing room. If shipping remains fragile, power and logistics stay on the AI risk map. The takeaway is blunt: the AI boom is still huge, but it is no longer floating above the real world. It is inside politics, energy, health, enterprise budgets, public trust, and national security. Comment with the story you want tomorrow's desk to chase, and subscribe for daily AI coverage with receipts. That is today's UGTP AI Intelligence Desk.